Hey boys and girls, I'm back for lesson 15-6. This is our last math lesson for the week. So only 3 math lessons, pretty easy. SMyExcel, not too bad, right? So this one is about measuring length. So what this one is doing, this lesson is wanting you to think about the units you've used. And we're going to start off with some Lego bricks and some paper clips. So hopefully you saw my instructions that you needed these things. If you don't have them, pause the video right now. I want you to go get the paper clips I gave you, and if you have got some Lego bricks or pieces of gum or something that are about the size of a cube, okay? So anyway, so what this lesson is going to do is it wants you to think about all the units you've learned and thinking about like how big they are compared to the other, and if you're going to use more of one or less of one, kind of like how yesterday on our video on 15.5 that I recorded, we had to think about what you would use if you measured your house, more centimeters or more meters, like what would be better to measure. And we said meters because a house is big and meters are big. It would be a lot of centimeters to measure a house. So that's what this lesson is talking about. It's not too confusing, but it can be kind of a confusing lesson. So I want to do one on the front page for you, and you can either follow along with me or just watch. So I have a book again, the book we measured on the last video. So, and I'm going to lay it down here, and what it says is this. So I'm going to measure it from left to right, and is it going to take more paper clips to measure the book or more cubes, more Legos to measure the book? What are you guys noticing about the cube or the Legos? I keep saying cubes because they're supposed to be cubes, but what are you noticing about the Lego compared to the paper clip? I hope you're noticing that about 2 Legos make up the length of 1 paper clip. So if I were to measure the length of this book in paper clips, it's 1, 2, 3, 4. So it took 4 paper clips. So I'm going to write this down here. I'm going to put book. It took 4 paper clips to measure that book, and now I'm going to do it with cubes or Legos. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So about 8. I was a little off because I moved one, but so 8 Legos or cubes long. So what this lesson is going to ask you, did it take fewer paper clips or fewer Legos to measure the book? Well, what number is bigger? The bigger number is going to be your answer because it took fewer paper clips. It took 4 paper clips, but it took 8 cubes. So it took fewer paper clips to measure. So the paper clip is the bigger unit of measurement of a paper clip and a Lego. So now we're going to get into that with real units of measurement. So let's open up my book aside. So up here, our little cartoon says you can use different units to measure objects. Which would you use more of to measure the length of the bookcase? More feet or more yards? So they measure the bookcase with feet, and it's about 3 feet long. The chicken's cute, huh? Zoe likes the chicken. And then measure the bookcase with yards, it's about 1 yard long. So he used more feet than yards because a foot or feet is the smaller unit. So you have to think about what your wording here is. Sometimes it's going to say fewer, sometimes it's going to say more. So in this case, it said, which would you use more of? So they use more feet in this lesson, or in this measuring, okay? So think about number 1. And we can't measure this right now, but you can envision it, I'm sure, okay? So if we were at school and we were going to measure the whiteboard. So the whiteboard in the back of the room where we write our, we do our math problem, competition problems on, we have AR quiz numbers on the back board in our classroom. If we were going to measure that, would it take more feet or more yards? What do you think? Because we can't really do that right now. But if I were to guess how long that board is, I would say it's probably 6 yards. And I know that there's 3 feet in a yard, so 6 times 3 is 18, so it's about 18 feet. So would it take more feet or more yards? Clearly more feet. Plus, if we didn't measure that, you could think of the smaller unit of measurement is going to take a lot more because you need more of them to measure, so more feet. So let's think about this and not even, I mean, you can measure it if you want, but let's kind of talk about reasonableness here. If I was going to measure the height of a chair, would it take more inches or more feet? Think about what's smaller. What's smaller, inches or feet? Okay, where'd my ruler go? I know with my ruler that inches are smaller than feet. So it's going to take a lot more inches than it is feet to measure. Okay. What about the do you understand? Would it be easier to measure the height of a door in inches or yards? So a door, it's a pretty big thing. It's tall. It's taller than an adult because adults can fit through. I mean, so adults might have to duck depending on the door and how tall they are. But a door is pretty tall. So it's going to take more inches to measure that door. And that's going to be a lot harder. So I think it'd be easier to use yards. So you would use yards because a door is tall. All right. On this side, it's more the same. If you're going to measure a book, but now it wants fewer. So if you were going to measure a book, would I use fewer inches or fewer feet? Well, if I was going to measure this book, it's not even a foot long, is it? It's not. So it's about, we'll say, it's past the halfway mark here. So I'm going to say it's about 8 inches. It's no feet because it has to be 12 inches to make a foot. It's no feet. So I'm going to use fewer feet to measure that book. I'm not even going to use a foot to measure that book. Okay. Now, a window, like the front window at your house, would you use more feet or more yards? Or sorry, it's saying fewer feet or fewer yards. Well, probably, like I'm looking at my window out here in my living room, and I'd say it's about, each window's close to a yard. It might be a little bit smaller. So I'd say it's about 2 yards, which is about 6 feet. So it would be fewer yards because a yard is bigger. So there's gonna be less of them, okay? About how long is a key? So a key to open your door, 2 yards. That's a humongous key. 2 inches. 2 inches, so about this long, or 2 feet. 2 of these. I think a key is about 2 inches, right? And then you can go ahead and look at the back, but I want you guys to just think about, oh, I forgot the secret word. I'm gonna write the secret word here, and then you can put it on top of your paper when you do your paper and make sure you submit it. The secret word for right now is going to be robin. I've been having a lot of robins in my yard looking for worms because they're very hungry, and a lot of them have nests and are laying eggs, and maybe even the eggs have started to hatch and they need to feed their babies. So the secret word is robin. Put it on the top of your homework paper. Do not submit this work, Matt. I don't need to see it. Hopefully you practiced on it and followed along with me. or you did it before, you follow along with me, whatever. I'd like you to practice a little bit and then just turn in your assignment. So just remember the gist of this lesson. If it's a small unit, you're going to use a lot more of it. If it's a big unit, you're going to use fewer of it when you're measuring things. All right? Okay, so I will talk to you guys later. Peace out.
Bye.
Wait, hold on. I got to stop recording.